welcome to another day at fmtraining.tv, where we're here to discuss the FileMaker and Claris platform. I am Margaret, and I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. I'm here with the wonderful Nick Hunter, who is a really fantastic senior engineer. He really knows his stuff. He really knows how to bend FileMaker to his will and make it things that you thought you couldn't get out of FileMaker alone, Nick can do, and he's here to show us, which is really great. Let's talk about our training schedule. So today we are finishing up the series with Nick about, today and tomorrow we're doing creating, deleting, and duplicating related records. Thursday will be an open Nick Q&A. Friday will be an open FileMaker server Q&A with RC and Jacob Taylor. Monday will be custom functions in FileMaker with Jake Shealy, one of our engineers. And Tuesday we'll be starting a new series with Nick about building a 2-level hamburger menu with keyboard navigation, which will be awesome. That'll be really quite cool. So, if you'd like to support the channel, we'd greatly appreciate it. We have our FM Training annual subscription bundles. They're 100+ hours of really high energy video content. Pretty much if you want to get started with FileMaker, or you've got gaps in your FileMaker knowledge, I highly recommend picking these up. They're about 15 to 20 minute bite-sized videos, very animated. And it's Richard presenting, which means you won't get bored. With that all being said, Nick, what are we doing today?
Yeah, thank you, Marge, for the introduction. And thank you, everybody, for joining in today. So I'm very happy to see you again this week, and we'll have some fun. The hamburger menu will be interesting. It's something cool that I built for a customer. And so I want to show you guys. And so today, we do the second day of the creation, deletion, duplication, and of records, of related records, right? So last week we had a discussion about how to use the magic key, right? So it was kind of interesting conversation that we had, and some people had different ways to do that, but there's always you have one technique that is simple, straightforward. I like the straightforward technique, the one that is working all the time, very simple. You can replicate on every level, right? So I show you how to, create records on multiple level of relationship and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to do that exercise. And today we're going to see multiple things. So the first thing we're going to see is how to create a related record via PSoS, right? On a PSoS. And then I'm going to show you how to create a large amount of records. Sometimes it is interesting to create a large amount of records. Like, for example, you have a calendar, right? And you want to create 5 years of worth of calendar, right? So that's a large amount of records, right? So it's at least 365 by 5, right? So it's a large amount of records. So when you want to create a large amount of records, we have a technique, and I'm going to show that today. And if you have some time left, we're going to duplicate records via a related record. So duplication of record with related records. So I'm going to show you that. The first thing we want to do, we want to create records. We want to create records on server. So let's say I want to create 10 records, okay? So I want to create 10 records on server, but I want those records to be related to that table A using that ID. So pretty much I want to do this, boom, 10 records, So I have 10 records related to table A. If I create a new table A records, I click here and I have 10 records. Using that table A ID, right? So how we do that, how we do creation. So it's very straightforward. So I'm going to show that. So first we have a performance server. So we have a script that performance server. So that means we have a local script that's going to performance server. And as a parameter, I'm going to send to the server the ID of the table A. In the server, right, I collect the ID, right? I collect the ID. Then I go to the table I want to create the records. And then I'm setting the records like this. So I'm doing a loop that ends when the counter says 10, and I'm doing a new record, So new. So it's a loop that do 10 times new records. And to collect that ID in the table B, this field, which is a foreign key of the table A, I'm saying in an auto entry calculation that I want the content of that variable. So when I'm setting up this variable, I'm going to the layout B. I initiate the loop, set the counter, and I'm doing a new record. Doing the new record in the table B with this auto entry calculation, it will automatically add a record with the ID that I have here. It will put the ID in this field, the IDF table A. It's going to put that ID here, right? So that's why we can create records. So, we click this button here. We perform the script on server. It creates the 10 records. So the 10 record has been created. And then to display those records, I need to refresh that poll. Refreshing the poll, bam, right? I have the records coming. I need to refresh the record, the poll, because, the records has been created on the server, and we need to refresh that. Okay. So for that technique, it's very interesting. Okay, so that's straightforward. So that is easy to do, and we all know that, and so it's very straightforward. But now I want to do something interesting. I want to create 50,000 records, right? I want to create 50,000 records. Don't ask me why. I want to. Okay, so it's a demonstration, right? So we can have, like I said, a calendar and whatever you want to. You need 50,000 records. So we have the slow technique. That's why I call that PSoS creating slow records, right? It's still on server. It's the same technique of creation, loop like this. And let's see what happens. So I'm here, and I have a new record here, and I want to add 50,000 records to that total with the slow technique, right? Slow technique. I click. And here we can wait. So I can have some glass of water. If you want to do some, grab a coffee or something like this. So that the slow record, the slow wave, it's on server. Imagine locally. It's a nightmare. So on server, you see, so I'm creating my 50,000 record. It will stop in a few seconds. Hopefully. Boom, 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 boom. Whew. Take some time. Yep. Take some time. I hope I didn't break something in my demo. Normally, no. So, okay. I have my 50,000 records. So that's slow. We all agree, right? It's slow. So now I want to do the same thing using another technique, which is not slow, right? Add record. It takes some time, but you will see that it will be a fraction of what it was. Boom. So we agree it's faster, no? Okay, we all agree like this. They're all on server, right? So using that technique, I have no way to do that faster because it's already on server. So more than that, I cannot do it. So what did I do to make that super fast. This. Let me explain. I have a table where I have 100,000 records, right? Let's say I have 100,000 records ready for me, right? They're ready to be used to create a large amount of records, right? So those records exist in a table. They're empty. I have not in that table. I have only a record number. So why a record number is because I need something. I need a field with something, right? So I put the record number, right? So here what happened. On server, I still collect the current ID, the table A ID. I collect it exactly the same way I do this, right here, the same way. And then I'm going to the 1,000 records. Okay, that table where I have thousands records. It should be thousands record, by the way. So let's we can say, we can say this 100,000 records. Okay. So I have my table with 100,000 records. I'm showing all the records. I'm going to the first one and I omit 50,000, right? So that's we'll do like this, right? I'm going to the first and I omit multiple and I say I want to omit 50,000. So I'm keeping 50,000. So the half. If I want to omit more, so that means if I want more records, I'll omit 30,000. So now I have 70,000 records, right? Ready. So I select 70,000 records in that table. If I want my 50,000 back, I say omit multiple 50,000. But to this technique of omitting multiple, it needs to show all, go to the first, and then you omit from the first. Because if you're not on the first record and you omit records, it will omit records. Like if I omit 30,000, I have 70,000 because I was, so I wasn't on the beginning. Right? It needs to be on the beginning. It needs to be on the first. Okay. And then, so far, do we have questions? I see some Discord stuff.
No questions. Just like
okay.
initial hello.
Okay, no problem. So when I select those records, right, I'm setting a path. So here for free, I'm going to give you a custom function of mine, which is cool. And which says when it's a Mac, it puts FileMac. When it's a window, it puts FileWin. And when it's not one of those two, it puts file, right? Because it is important to do that, because when we set the export here, right? Here, when we set the export here, it says, full path, FileMac, FileWin, and file when it's a relative path, right? So we need to have this distinction, FileMac, FileWin. So to make that automatic, I have a file prefix. So we're going to build a path where we are going to export those 50,000, in that case, 50,000 records. So I'm going to export those records from that table, right? Using the path technique. So what this do, right? What this do? It do this. I'm on the Mac, so it said FileMac automatically. I want the temporary path, right? Which is this Macintosh HD var blah 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 blah. This is the temporary path. Then I'm adding a file name, and I want this name to be different each time, right? So the good technique to get a file name, which we don't care about the name, right? We never care about it. I use the UUID because I know that will be a different name all the time. Okay. In the past, we were using the random, which doing something like this without the dots, but I don't like it. We have that on the past, in the 90s and 2000, but now we have the get UUID, so it's better because this will get a different ID each time I generate it. See, you see the ID here, you see the number here, it changes all the time. Okay. And then when I have my prefix, my where the folder where I want to go, the name of the file, and the extension, which is a CSV, comma separated values, right? CSV. So I'm adding .csv. So this is the name I'm going to export. This is the name I'm going to export the file, where I'm going to export the file, and how. Okay. So that when we have this, we export those records, right? Which is, I'm exporting a number. That's all what I'm exporting, right? Then I'm going to the target table, okay? And I'm importing those 50,000 records inside the table B, right? Using the same path. So that's why I'm setting a variable, because I'm setting a variable to export, and I'm using the same to import, right? So we don't have to do that 2 times. This is used for both export and import, right? So I'm importing just record number. So in the table B, I have a record number field, right? But here, remember, I have an auto entry calculation with this variable in it. That means when I import here, I'm performing the auto entry calculation while I am importing those records. So automatically, this field is going to get the ID that I put here because I'm executing this within the same scripts. I'm importing those 50,000 records related to this. So I am not creating records like this with a loop. We saw that technique slow. We saw that technique is fast because the export and import, the importation is faster than creation of records, right? It will create records. This technique will create records, but in a different way, using importation. So this technique, if you have 10 records, like I did the first, 10 records, 100 records, 200, even if you have, let's say, 1,000 records, right? 1,000 records, and you want to create 1,000 records, here you want to create 1,000 records using the slow technique. That's okay, that's okay. 1,000 record using the slow technique, it's okay. It's okay. It's not slow. But we saw that we have a large amount of records. This is no longer valid. Okay. It's way too slow. Okay. Large amount of, so all the time, since the beginning of those webinars, which is come like 2016, okay, I'm saying the same thing, okay? And this is my quote. No, really. The quote is, the number drives the technique we use. The number. So when you have 10 users connected on the server, and you know, you cannot use, you can use technique that you cannot use when you have 200 users connected to the server. When you have 10 records, you can use a technique that you cannot use if you have 10 million records. You know, so each time, if you have 10 million records with 200 users, again, you cannot use the same technique. You have to use different technique. The numbers is always driving the technique you're going to use. So it's not necessary to use with a small amount of things. You can use technique that you, because it's, you are forgiven. You know, you are forgiven. But because you don't have a lot of records, or you don't have a large amount of, you don't have a volume. When you have volume, it's not the same. I'm using always the same analogy of the, you know, the Amazon truck with I don't know, 50 bucks in it, right? And the super container, you know, cargo ship with millions of boxes on them, right? It's not the same logistic. The Amazon truck, it's okay, it's fast, straightforward, you know. But when you have to carry millions of boxes on the cargo ship, it's not the same logistic. With FileMaker, it's the same. So that was the demonstration I want to do for the large amount of records, right? So do we have any question?
We do actually. Importation is faster than creation. That's why? Question mark.
Yeah, importation faster.
What is the difference
Because
in time between creation and importing?
okay, the importing, creation, you open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. So you have the opening, closing. Maybe you have the indexing, right? So, and the optimization in memory is not the same. And you are looping. This is slow. The loop, it's slow. Back, because you are in the in the script. So always what I'm saying that to be simplistic, right? Everything that is on the script, right? We measure that in milliseconds. Okay? Milliseconds. When you are here, okay? When you are here, the measure is no longer a millisecond. It's a tick. Okay? So what's a tick? It's a computer cycle. It's a CPU cycle. Okay? When you hear, you are using a software like I don't know, a macro software. You know, macro, macro? Okay. You're using a macro software that doing some stuff, you know. When you hear, right? You are pretty much at the lowest level in FileMaker, and you are pretty much as if you were building FileMaker itself. Here, you are like using an external software. Let's say you use an API named Script Workspace, right? And so it's slower because it's like using another software. When you import, right, you say, I want in this, so you are directly at the level, at the lowest level, you're here, you are at this level. You are in this level, right? So when you import here, you say, I want to import a file into a table, right? You are here in the lowest level in FileMaker, right? So you are, what you do here is no longer in millisecond. It's faster than that, much faster, right? And you are not, you know, how do you explain that? You are not in the same, it's like your brain, you know? Let's take your brain, human brain. We all know we have a region of the brain faster, and we have region of the brain slower, okay? So the, you know, so the anterior cortex, frontal cortex, and stuff like that. So FileMaker is the same. Depending where you are in FileMaker, you have faster response because you are not using the memory is the same. You're not using the, what's the name? The IOs, you know, in and out kind of transaction when you do that, right? So it's slower on the scripts by far because you loop, you create a new record, which is the process to create a record is slow on FileMaker. You notice this, it's slow because you have a lot of things going on when you create a record. It's not just creating a record. You're doing a lot of things in the background that we don't see, right? Import not doing this the same way. You know, it's hard to explain exactly how it does that, but and since many years at Claris, they optimize this. You know, they have optimized how to import records throughout the years when they didn't really optimize how to create records because we need that, right? We create records, you know, new record. That's it, right? New record has been created for that purpose, you know, new records. You click on here, new record. That's it. And even on new record, look the time that it takes to create records, you know, new record, boom. See, it's not in stages, boom. It's boom. It's boom. Okay, it's not like bum bum bum. Okay, you understand? It's not. So because things going on there. Okay. When import, we don't do that. Import is the creation of the records without closing them, right? So that's why you have sometimes you can have funky results when you import records, you know, especially when you have a auto entry calculation that do things a little bit weird. You can have some results, unexpected results, because it's not creation of record like we used to, you know, like create like this. In that case here, I have no problem with this, you know. So the advantage is that, you know, like I just demonstrate, if I use the here, you know, I click 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 seconds to create 50,000 records, right? And then those records, we can do whatever we want, right? Like, for example, I can have, let's say, I want to add in table B, I want to add a current timestamp, you know, for example. So this is timestamp, right? And I want the creation of timestamp here, right? So now I have a new field. I'm going to creation flash, make sure I have the auto entry calculation on current timestamp to happen, right? And look what happened here. So if I'm showing this, and I'm showing the current timestamp, add record. So you see, so now you know why all the field I'm using for trigger an auto entry calculation, I'm putting a timestamp because they start at 9:13 to 39 p.m., right? And it stopped at 47 p.m., like 9:32, 47. So I know how long it took to create those. It started at 39 seconds, 9:32, 39 seconds, and it ended 9:32 at 47. So it's 8 seconds, right? Or 9. No, 8. 8 seconds. I know because the first was created at 39 and the last one at 47, right? So it's 8 seconds to create 50,000 record, right? So if I do the loop, let's do the loop another time, then we see the difference of time, right? Just for fun. So I'm going to deactivate this and activate this. So let's say the slow version, we see how many times it takes. So I can take some water while we wait for that. Because where I am now, it's 35 degrees Celsius. So it's like 102, 103. And I'm drinking like a, oof. Okay. So we will see how many times it will take to take some time, right? Do we have any question about we can read while we wait for this?
From which number of records we switch the technique?
Good question. Okay, depends on depend on many factors, but I will explain. So we start in 34:21 and we end in 35:17, right? So we see we almost, a minute, right? It's almost a minute when it was 8 seconds with the other technique. So there's no doubts, So to me, the switch will be 10,000, So if 10,000 we will start, waiting like 20 seconds, something like this, 15 seconds. That is long, right? 8 seconds is okay. Less than 10 seconds, okay. It's not a big deal, but more, it's slow. So it depends. It depends on many things, how many auto entry calculation you have on the other side. It depends on many things. In my example here, I'm doing nothing, right? But if you do a lot of things, you will be very happy to use that technique, So if we don't have another question, do we?
We have, yes.
Okay.
Can we compare the time with the magic key auto create?
It doesn't apply here. If I use the magic key to do that in a loop, we can go take the day off and come back tomorrow. The magic key is good when you want to create one record, click, click, click. It's not the same. Here I want to create in batch 50,000 records. So it's like clicking on 50,000 times on the button, new, like this. So the magic key is not a good technique for that. The magic key is good when you want to create a record right away out of the box. Here I want to create in batch a given number of records. So it's not the same, right? It's not the same. So question?
If I remember correctly, the import will be slower if you have more auto entry calculations. Is that
No,
correct?
it's not. No, it won't be slow. It will always be faster. Always. Because you will have the auto entry calculation in the loop as well. The advantage, let's say in my table B, I have in field 1, I have one auto entry calculation. In field 2, I have another auto entry calculation. And in field 3, I have another auto entry calculation, right? But when I do my import, right? When I do my import, let's say, so I'm going new. I said in the slow version, I have no way to stop an auto entry calculation. I have no way, or I need to do some trick, right? Here, I can say yes, but I want field 1. I don't want, I want only field 1. I don't want those two, right? Using that technique, you can stop which auto entry calculation relookup you don't want to happen when you import. Here, you have no way to do that. No way. Or you need to use a trick, right? So this is a good technique when you have complex auto entry calculation and you don't want some of those auto entry calculation to perform. You can stop it. So demonstration. Here, wait 8 seconds. Up. So this field, I have something, right? But if I'm showing field 1, field 2, and field 3, they are empty, right? And if I go to my scripts and I say, yeah, I want field 2 and field 3. So we can stop, right? We can have control on the auto entry calculation, relookup or whatever. So now this is empty and this too. And this one, this was get the auto entry dot not, right? So if you want to do that using the slow technique, the loop, good luck, you need to have a variable and to put the variable, it's a nightmare. But if we don't have another question, I want to switch to another topic.
Thank you. We're good.
Okay. So now we're going to do something interesting, right? I want, for example, here, I want, to duplicate this record. So what do I mean by duplicate the records? Here, I have in my table B, right? I have a lot of records here, so it will take some time. I might have 1 million records, something like this. In my table B, I have those records here. Okay. Oh, yeah. I want only those. So modify last find. Why I have so many? Oh, yeah, because I have and I want only those. So let me new requests, and this omits this. So because I have a lot, let me create a new record. Let me create a new record here. I have this record here, and I want why I cannot table B? So I want table B. Where's the table B? Okay, here. Let's allow this for the demonstration. I want Nick. Let's say March. Oops. Carlton. And I want Nick Hunter. Yeah, I have the auto entry calculator. I want Scott Kane. I want Michel Gravel. Michel Gravel. In a French accent. And Rick, the boss, always, Otherwise, he will. And I have one here. So I want to duplicate this. So I want to duplicate those records. So I want duplicate the record here on the table A. But if I duplicate this, boom, right? I didn't duplicate those, right? I just duplicate the record here. You know what I mean? So I duplicate the records, but I didn't duplicate this, and I have the same ID. So it's not a good duplication. I didn't duplicate anything. I duplicate the main field, the main record, but I didn't duplicate those. Let's say I want to duplicate. Let's say I have here in that, I have I have a name here, right? And I have RCC, and I have Acme, and I have Apple, Claris, right? But they all have the same ID because I duplicate the records. So I didn't duplicate anything. So if I go in RCC and I'm adding Christian, right? It has been added in RCC, in Acme, and Claris. I didn't duplicate anything. Same ID, some related record. No, I want to duplicate the records. Still Claris, still everything. But I want a new set of records here that go with another ID here, right? So how we do that? In FMSP, we have a technique of looping. We have the slow technique. We have the technique loop. We have this technique here. But I'm not going to demonstrate that. I'm going to demonstrate the fast and forward technique, right? So how we do, right? First, we want to duplicate the record. So we want the same name, same everything on this table, but we want a new ID here. Because when we duplicate, it duplicates also what's inside this, right? Okay. So let's start to build the duplication. Here, new duplication. Oops. Okay. First, what I'm doing here, oops, I want to set right? The fields. So I want to duplicate the records. No, sorry. First, I want to set, right, the current variable with the current table A ID, right? I'm going to show you why. Then I want to set the new ID that I'm going to use. So far, so good. Then I'm duplicating the record. And then I'm setting the new record, duplicated record, the new ID with this, right? So what these do, okay? Duplication. I have this ID here with Claris. Duplicate. I have a new record, right? Still with Claris with a new ID, right? Well, so what happened here if this I have Nick, Marge, Rick, Scott, and Michelle. Okay. What happened if I want to duplicate those people too? That means, because if I duplicate this, I'm losing those people because I have a new ID. This was with this ID here. If I'm going there, right, and I'm looking for those people, this is the people I have. They're related to DE60. DE60, if I duplicate and I put a new ID, I lost them because they are not in this ID anymore, you know? So how I'm doing this? I duplicate this. Now I'm going to table B, right? I'm going to table B, and I'm looking for the records I had attached to my original record, the current record, before I can, I can rename that original, right? From our original ID, I want to find those records in the table B. Okay? Right? And then I'm using the same technique as the flash record. Setting, export, import. I'm setting a path with the same technique, the path, temporary path, get your UID, and CSV, okay? I am in table B, and in table B, I want to export everything, right? But I don't want to export this, and I don't want to export this because I don't need that, I don't, right? So I move that. Field 1, field 2, I don't need this, and this. I don't, no, I don't need those. I want only one field, two, and okay. I want only those 3 fields. I want to duplicate only those 3 fields. I don't need the other ones, So I'm going to export that, okay? And I'm going to import those records. But So I need to use, yeah, the same, yeah, it's okay. The same. I have a new, I can use the replace anyway, but we can use the import, right? We can use the import. Because when we, okay, so let's, one step at a time. We go, we find, we set the path, and we export. So let's see how this works. Okay. I duplicate. I'm setting the original, and I'm setting a new one. Original 46E0BA 46, and that's a new one. That's the one I'm going to use in the future. I duplicate the record, and I set the field with the new table ID. Boom. Right? Remember the 65 BDA 19B, 65 BDA 19B. Going to the table B, perform find. Why? I don't know why. Original. So let me see what happened here. Yeah, table A. Maybe because I didn't have some of them. Oh, I didn't have any records. Sorry, So let's do it again. Okay. So I have Nick, Marge, Scott, and Michelle. Okay. Okay. So I have those. So duplicate. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, I'm adding record. I'm in the wrong layout. Okay, never mind. Oh, with the flash. Okay, with the flash. Sorry for that. I add record here. Okay. So I'm in the wrong layout. Okay, so this one. So I'm going to one with records here. Okay, I'm this one. Okay, this one has record. Okay, so I duplicate this. Duplicate. I duplicate the record. Set the table. Go this perform find. So this is the record I had on the original. I'm setting the variable and I'm exporting those. So now those are exported here in the CSV. Exported in the file. Now that I have those exported, I want to import them using the path, right? So I want to import them from that file here. So I'm adding, so the path here is not available to me, right? If I do this here, it says there's no source file. In order to set this importation here, I need at least to add the file, one file, and then now I can set the importation. Okay. And I want this, it's a tab separation. Okay. Okay. Tab separation, not comma. It's a tab separation. Okay. So I want Nick here in field 1. I want this one in field 2, and I want this one in field 3. Right? And I want none of the auto entry calculation. None. None of them. Right? Why? It's because no, sorry, I want one of them. I want this one. I want this one and this one. Okay, I want the main key to happen in table B and the current timestamp because I want to play with it. But I don't want table A. Why? Because table A, I'm going to replace the field content with the new ID table. Right? So here, what happened here now? Okay, so I go to the layout, okay, and then go to layout original. Right? So let's see what happened. Don't worry, I will let you ask questions. So let's say I'm here. I want to duplicate this. Really duplicate it, right? Here I have 800,000, it's either 890, right? Look what happened here. So look this and here. Duplicate. I duplicate the record, set the new ID, go to table B, perform, set the variable, export the record. So the new table A, the original table A was DE60D, DE60D, right? So now I'm importing the new record, bam. So field 1, field 2, field 3. I have no table A. And I'm replacing the table A with the new table A, which is 9BD43, 9BD43. And then I'm going to the original bomb, duplicate it. And now I have 5 more here, 5 more. So see 5 here, 9, 5. Okay, duplicate. Right? Now I'm 900, duplicate. Now I'm 905, because each time I'm really duplicating the related records as I duplicated the main records. I'm 63 here, right? If I duplicate this, I will have 64, and here I will have 910. Duplicate 64 and 910, right? So you see, if you want to do this using the slow technique, it's a pain in where you know. Start with a B and end with a T, okay? Or you can start with the A or end with the S. But always, it's a pain if you use this technique, loop, 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 because it's a nightmare. This is straightforward. You get the original record, you set an ID that you're going to set the new record, you duplicate the record, you set the main ID with the new ID, you go to the table B, you perform the find to collect the original related records, you set a path, you export those original records, you import them again, and you replace the foreign key with the new foreign key, and then you go to your layout and done. Super fast, right? Super. And I can make this on server in no time. Right? So how? Now this is a PSoS. To avoid, you remember this flickering we had? You know, this flickering, bling, and it's slow. It's slow, blom, blom, it's slow, right? It's slow. We don't like it. I want boom. Okay. So this now is not the original table A, is not from the table A, it's from the script parameter. Why? Because this script here is going to send to the server to do this, and here I'm sending the table A ID. This now is on server, right? So I need to go to layout, A, retrieve the record with the original data in table A. So now you know why I'm using two variable. It's because I'm doing two perform find using the variable. I'm going to A, I'm retrieving the table A records, right? Because I'm not there anymore. When you click here and you say on server, the server has no ID you are in the record number 65 here. No ID. You need to say the server, go there, retrieve the file, the record where I was, Then duplicate that record, do all the blah, 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 and we don't need this at all, right? And we need to replay portal B. Okay. So now, this is on server. Demonstration. Why? Perform script on server duplication. Set variable, perform find. Yeah. Oh, stupid me. This is now on server. Oh, I'm in again, I'm in the wrong layout. Sorry. Perform. Okay. Sorry, I was on the wrong. So now, duplicate. Duplicate. But he's doing nothing here. Oh, yeah, I know why. He did it, but he's not going there. He did it, but he's not going there. So we need to add something here, right? I duplicate this, right? But this here, now, I need to send to the main script this, right? To go to the records that I'm in. So I'm doing this, look. Refresh the port, I'm doing this. I perform, I said, okay, set variable, the new table A ID, which is a get script results. I'm going to explain. I perform in the table A with this, and voila. So now, duplicate, 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 right? Duplicate, 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 duplicate. It's fast, and there's no stupid things. We can optimize this much more than this, but I don't want to complicate the thing too much. So here what happened before we go to the question. Setting the original, setting the new, go to the table A, get the original record, duplicate the original record, set the duplicated record with the new ID, go to the table, retrieve the original related records, set the path, export those original records, import them again in the same table, replace the table, the foreign key with the new, send to the original script that triggered this, send whatever this is saying, go there, right? That's another way to do that, but that's a better way to do that, but it's okay. That's a better way to do that. I just saw it. We don't do, because I modified our local script into to tomorrow I'm going to optimize this. But that's another way, we duplicate here, right? And we don't have to do that, right? So we move, if you have something, yeah, we have some time. No, it's complicated. It's complicated. No, it's good like this. It's good like this. We exit, you go to the new, we take this and we send here. It's the same. Okay. So do we have any questions?
Yes, for ID auto enter with UUID, if check does not replace existing value, when duplicating a record will repeat the UUID, should it be unchecked?
Yeah, so we can do that, but you don't have control. And I don't know that, so I don't like this. You say we can do this, and set this to not replace, and this will definitely, when we duplicate the records, set a new ID here. Okay, we can do that too, but I don't want to lose that ability. Do not replace existing. It's a main key. I don't want to disrupt the natural behavior, because we don't want that to change. So this is a good way to keep, because FileMaker, they do crazy thing. Look this, auto enter, cannot modify, require value and unique, on the primary key. They do crazy thing, right? I don't do that. I just, say, do not replace, keep it. I prefer, but definitely, yes, you can do that. But you lose the original one, right? So it's, I don't know. It's up to you. It doesn't make a big difference, in my opinion, because here what you do here, right? You can see what you do, right? So, other question?
Then you have a repeating UUID if the record is duplicated?
No, because I'm setting the new one, the duplicated one. I get this duplicated record with the same ID, and I'll replace it with this one. So here, when I duplicate this, I get the same original ID, but I said, no. Set it with the new one. You understand? So I don't have a duplicate main ID. You can see. If I'm starting here with C53, okay, I duplicate, I end up with DODA. So it's not repeating UUID. If I do this, yeah. If I don't do this, yeah, of course. But I'm doing this, so I don't have a problem.
The follow-up, sorry, I was muted. You do that for all your projects? Question mark.
Yeah. When I duplicate, I'm using import export a lot because it's cool. So I can show you something here, something crazy. Okay, if you want, I can show you. If you don't, tell me. You want? Yes, no. You want to see crazy shit? Like your father said, you want to see crazy shit, right? Let's do. I paused my screen sharing right quick to enter the file because I don't want people to see. Because sometimes when I'm showing a customer layout, we have a competitor, they contact them, say, hey, get rid of Nick Hunter, get rid of RCC, and use us. So I don't want that to happen again. So I'm not showing which one is, but you guys know. Okay. So I have this amazing layout here, and those are estimates. But I have a versioning. a version. For each estimate, I can have multiple versions. Right? That's cool. Yes, but look at this. I want a new version of that estimate with all the sections, subsection, and item. I want a duplication of this total. So I want to duplicate all the records here, all the record here, and all the record here in the new version. So let's build a version 3 here. Okay. So I'm clicking here. I'm building a new version. And I want this version to be based on the version 2. So I want the V2, I want the V3 to be based on the version 2, right? And I want to do test demo webinar, okay? And the status I want are duplicates, okay? And I validate this. So now, can you imagine all the thing I'm doing right now, right? So you can see I'm doing some exporting here because I didn't optimize this. Is not on the server. I'm going to, when this will be done, I'm going to send that to the server, right? To avoid this, right? But this is what I'm doing. I'm exporting, importing all the records that I have with the IDs, creating new IDs, replacing with new IDs and stuff like that, right? So if you don't use that technique of exporting and importing, good luck, good luck. So this is slow because it's local, okay? I didn't optimize it yet to send to the, because I was doing some, testing and stuff like that. So that is performing locally, okay? It's not performing on server, right? But you understand what's going on now. I duplicate, I'm exporting all sections, subsection, blah, 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 right? And I'm replacing all the IDs and doing relookup. I have a lot of process here that happen when I'm duplicating this, okay? On server is instant. I don't know why it's not on server, by the way. Let's finish it. So you understand when you have a lot of things like this, you want to make sure that it's happening correctly, and you don't want a crazy thing. I'm going to show you the script when it's done, and then if we have questions, that will be for tomorrow.
Is that a card or a modal window, the message?
Oh, no, this is FileMaker. This is a CASA window. This is FileMaker showing me this. But I don't know why the script is not on server, by the way. It should have been on server. Because this is not acceptable. This is not Nick Hunter acceptable at all. I might have disconnected the PSoS and stuff like that. Okay. So I have a new version now. I have the version 3, I have the version 2, and the version 1. Okay. So I have 3 versions now. So you see, duplicates and test demo webinar. So this is a version 3. Okay. So why the versioning? Why is the versioning? So let's say I want a new version based on this one. Okay. Based on 3. Why is not on server, by the way? Oh, that's why. Haha. Right? So let's see. Let's do. Oh, I know why. Yeah. That was last week. So let's reactivate on server. You want to see the difference? Let's see the difference. Let's see the boom. Okay, so I remember some people were, doing things dirty in my shoes, telling me why PSoS. Okay, so you have a demonstration here, right? You want a new version again? Okay, let's have a new version again. I'm clicking on version, add new version, right? And I want the 5th version, new on server. Okay, validate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, something happened here. Oh, no. Yeah, okay, so less than 10 seconds. It was like almost more than a minute, almost 2 minutes, the other one, right? So what happened on that before we go, let's, just curiosity, how I'm doing this. So I want to show you that I'm eating my own dog food here, because if you want to do something like this with all the calcs, can you imagine the calcs I have here? No, just to make sure you understand. All of those are calcs, right? And crazy thing, right? If I'm changing this, I'm putting 100 here, everything change, everything boom, it's, boom, it's going to calculate everything. Boom, everything change. You saw that if I'm putting here again 1,000, right? Look what happened. I click, I validate, boom. And then, okay, it's set, boom, it's 122,000, it changed everything, right? So what happened on the versioning scripts? Okay. Which one it is? Don't remember the number. The number is 3591. Okay. So 3591 version. Okay. So this is what happened. All of this, free mere variable, go to the layout, set the path, perform the find. If I have no error, export, import, replace. Go there, set the path, perform find. If there's no error, export, import, and replace this with the current version. Go there, set the path, set another path, because I need twice, okay? And it was kind of for bug fixing. Perform find, export, import, replace, relookup. Go there, restore, replace. Go there, restore, replace. Go there, restore. Okay, that's it. All of this, the duplication of all of this with the calculation and everything here in 51 line, and I can even reduce it, right? But then that's it, right? So up to you not using that technique, but to me, I'm proving to you with that example, right, that first I'm eating my own dog food, and secondly, it works, right? It works like you can't even imagine, right? So I'm doing the same thing, replacing with the current version, right? Replace, current version, right? And here I'm doing the triggering, because I want all of those calculation to happen, right? I want those to happen. Those are triggers. Trigger. And I have all those calculations like by magic happening, right? So up to you guys. Are you convinced or not? Tell me. If you're not, go home.
You keep amazing me every time you do everything with FM native scripts blazing fast. I think they are thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, because it's what do I do here? No, tell me, what do I do? What do I do crazy? Absolutely nothing. Who doesn't know perform find? Who doesn't know import, export, replace? I'm doing nothing extraordinary. Do you see anything complicated here? Do you see a loop and a crazy piece of bleep? No, it's super fast. It's super simple. this script here, it's easily debuggable, replaceable, modifiable. It's easy because like what to say, you can master it. You can see it. You export, import, duplicate it. That's it. You import, export, and you replace with the new version. You know, the new version. You know, original version, current estimate ID. Because it's a different version of the same estimates, right? So I have another difficulty, because if I go back there, I have all my versions here, right? I have all my versions. And I can even add a version from here, because thanks to the card style window, it's the same. You know, I'm triggering the card style window from here, or if I'm triggering the card style window on here, it's the same freaking card style window. And from here, from two separate, completely different places, thanks to the card style window, I can trigger the same add version stuff. Right? It's, yeah, this import export stuff, it's super fast. No, I mean, look, you know, no. Look, mom, no hands, you know, no hands, right? So this technique here, so tomorrow you get a file with this. But this here, so this is a small version of this more complicated one, right? So of course, if I'm showing you this, you say, what the heck is this? But even this, it's the same, is this, that's it. Is this, but I make it multiple times, boom, 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 go there, go there, go there, go there, you know. And at the end, go there, go there, go there, and, you know, and trigger all those super calculation crazy, you know, all the cleanup, multiplicate by this, minus, all the thing. Okay, so question, if we don't, we go home.
I think we're good. Thank you very much, Nick. It's greatly appreciated.
Okay, no problem. So see you tomorrow for the deletion.
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir!
On the ground, give me your hand.